Welcome back, Aces people. So, we're here with another Tech Tuesday. Benjamin's out of the office for the day, so I hired Bradley to come over here and sit next to me. I'm Tim, this is Bradley. You know, we do stuff. You might have talked to one of us on the phone.
Yeah.
Probably not me in the recent times. I've been doing other stuff, but it's important to do. So, we're going to burn through some comments as we normally do. And why are we going to do that, Bradley?
For the people.
Oh, he gets it for the
Yeah.
people. Wow. All right. So, any hoozles, we want to read a few of the ones on the back end of we're on our live thing. Also, comment on this video if you want us to do more live Tech Tuesdays. I felt that had an okay impact. Most people were fairly professional, asked some decent questions, which is quite good. And yeah, let's scroll down here. When is a good time to call? We're Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 to 5:30. I think the phones turn on at 9 o'clock, though, because we get here at 8:30, and then we have to get everything set up and turn the phones on and all that jazz.
I think they turn off at 5.
Also, yeah,
The live
that's
feed
true.
turns off at 5.
Yeah, it turns off at 5, but that's just so we can handle all the residual calls.
Right.
Let's see what we got here. Mark Slater, Automotive Restorato. Nice. Okay, so what about timing table? I never heard about that in the ad or tech anyone. MSD, CDI box. Oh, wait. Never heard about fuel tables. Never got any good advice from anyone. Best advice come from AI, LMAO. Is that a new slang term? Really, thanks for nothing. Setbacks and money spent. So, anyways, there's plenty of good videos out there going over some of the basic tuning stuff. We're putting out more and more content to help cover that. Even though it seems a bit like a negative comment as it goes, you gotta weed through those too. You know, answer the tough stuff sometimes. People like Prototech or Justin Richardson, same dude.
Yep.
He put out a pretty good one for setting up base fuel tables. I mean, timing tables, if you're used to any kind of software, it's the same thing. It's in our advanced tuning software. Same thing with the fuel tables as well.
Do you want to get into why we don't just give out random numbers for that?
It's a liability thing. If my timing on my tune may be different than the timing that you need in your engine. So,
Yep.
Those direct numbers like, how much timing should I run? Well, it depends on your heads, your cylinders, your fuel, the shape of the quench on top of your cylinder head, the shape of your combustion chamber, all kinds of interesting stuff. How much load is the vehicle going to be under? I got one vehicle that runs at 36 total on a classic engine. Very similar engine build will be 26 because it's a heavier vehicle that does gnarlier things with a different gearing.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of differences in there. When it comes to this, there is enough information out there if somebody's having their first go at learning how to tune anything. There should be enough information out there to give you just a kind of an idea of where to head to. And if you still feel it's a bit much for you, you can reach out to one of the authorized tuners. They have very reasonable rates. A lot of them do live tuning. Some, if you're in their area, you can just take it down there and stick it on a dyno. But a lot of the stuff we do is, really works off the base table because those calibrations are actually set taking a huge selection of calibrations from a lot of different vehicles and finding the middle ground for all of them. That's why you see some people make a horrible comment about, it doesn't work at all, worst thing in the world, and then you got somebody that just bought this, they got it in on a Friday and they put it in on Saturday with their buddies. And then this starts up and they run and drive and they only have like a few small questions about, hey, it does this when I tip in or it doesn't do this or what have you not. And, that's just a difference in experience level and how you install it. So you can do your research. We're not going to, eventually we'll put out a written document that's going to be more geared towards the tuning side of like the throttle body units and like jackpot and multi-port stuff. But those do take time to make, unfortunately. And I have been putting a lot of hours in making the one for the kill shot, which will be probably the first one I roll out.
That's exciting.
It's a lot of work. I've got a month in writing this tuning guide, just trying to define everything and cover all the bases.
Yeah.
So, it's not just like I can just go type one out because it won't do anybody any justice because you want to cover as much as possible. As somebody's always going to want more. They're going to want more than what you've offered.
Mm-hmm.
And, it really comes down to, subjectively speaking, what you should do to try to help them out. Do you make a supplementary document that helps explain something, or do you make a video, or is it just a very unique situation to them that is something they can get around?
Lakota Dennis got a Jackpot Pro 500 horsepower top end kit and put in a 2003 LQ960 and
I
a
like that.
2008 Chevy Silverado 4x4. What all additionally do I need to get everything work, like transfer case, lights, etc.? Well, as far as having the lights working, is he talking about the brake lights? I mean, you have to have the brake light switch hooked up.
Well, maybe not so much the lights and everything. He may be more
Just the
concerned
transfer
about
case
the
and
actual
four-wheel drive.
If he's got, say, for instance, an electronic transfer case. But that's a whole different thing that we don't control.
Yeah, we don't do the four-wheel drive stuff. We don't have a way to monitor that.
No, not really. I mean, transfer cases have 3 speed sensors, and would have to revamp everything and build a special strategy just to make an automatic transfer case work, but it's not going to control it either. It's just going to read the speed sensors correctly, which will set your shift scheduling. But if you have an old manual transfer case, you can kind of get around it, but still the speed sensors are going to be real weird.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
So what should he do? I mean,
well, we control the engine and the transmission. That's not a massive headache at all, but we don't do anything with the transfer case because you'd nearly need a separate module to control just a transfer case. And then you'd have to have so many variations of it and a huge amount of programmability for any kind of oddball ratios.
Yeah, and then it'd probably have to go through CAN just to transfer that data to
it'd be a CAN thing too. But yeah, if you get like an MP246 2001 Silverado transfer case that's the automatic, yeah, it's the vehicle barely handles that in my experience. So yeah, the one in my Tahoe is different though because I used a factory VCM to control the transmission.
Doesn't it say on the website that they're not applicable for four-wheel drive applications?
It's not preferred for four-wheel drive applications.
Okay.
Just with the fact that you're going to end up with weird speed sensor stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to shift funny. If it's reading like if you're in a lower range but you have higher RPMs and the transmission thinks that it's cruising down the road, it's going to shift real funny because it's looking at what the speed sensor's doing, and then it kind of gets funny.
Yeah.
But we may make a modifier option down the road, a virtual modifier option on the handheld, to where if you're in four-wheel drive, there might be a little clicky button. This is something that recently talked about with one of the authorized tuners, kind of asking a similar question.
Family Ute Cast 9804. I missed it. I will catch one of these live streams. Cheers and salute.
Sweet.
Cool.
No,
we're gonna schedule another one.
I want to do one a month.
That'd be awesome
to start off with. There's a lot of conversation because it took a bit of a push to do this one, and I really had to kind of spring it on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was positive though.
It was a positive thing.
It was awesome.
But we got some good questions out of it, and I think the direct interaction, even though it probably had about a 30-second delay on what I said versus what you seen,
yeah,
I think it's okay.
Jam 13210. I recently got the PDM and just installed it. However, it is not triggering my fuel pump if wired per the diagram. So to be sure, I route the pump ground directly to the PDM as well as the same result, no fuel pump. However, if I wire it directly to the ECU fuel pump wire, it works regardless of where I have it grounded to. I haven't been able to test past that. Fans, as now the fuel pump issue is if going out of the PDM. Any thoughts? That is, I think he just typed that was left hand.
What's wrong with being left-handed? So original definition of sinister is left-handedness. Anywho,
we've been getting a lot of questions around this thing.
Yeah, so. And that's on my filming schedule. I think that's the next major video after the kill shot thing is the PDM. As you know, I've been setting up for a big PDM video,
right? Trying
to get everything sorted out back there in the R&D area. I think that'll clarify a lot of these type questions. Is given this is how it's done. Draw it out on the whiteboard, do a whole thing. Like, this is how you trigger things. This is how you do it. Because we're a little bit lacking on the instructions on that PDM because it happens so fast.
Yeah.
That thing happened fast. Like we do have instructions, but I mean, now it needs to make something a little bit easier for the public to digest instead of just it's all rattling around in my head. So with that fuel pump thing, that trigger, interesting. If you have a video of that thing not really doing its job, send it to us.
I think he's talking about having that orange wire coming out of the loom going to it, and then it triggers, but I'm not sure how he had it hooked up to the PDM.
Yeah, snap us a picture,
So-
send us a video. We like that kind of stuff around
Yeah.
here because
We'll
this
take a
is
look
this
at
is
it.
a good talking point, but it's more fuel, no pun intended, for my video of really focusing on what triggers what and how.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these are ground triggers, some are positive. So it might be a situation where that fuel pump is a ground trigger situation. But that's something I need to make more information about.
MGP Customs 4494. Sorry, late to the show. LOL. I bought a kill shot and quick draw as a kit. What do I need just to run the quick draw as a standalone? At first, I'll be running a carb for breaking in first 1,000 miles. Thanks in advance. You can just plug in the handheld to that quick draw that you got for your kill shot.
Yeah.
And then it's standalone. So when you buy them as a kit, you only get one handheld for the two of them, and then you got your can splitter that comes with it.
Yeah.
Or does the can splitter come with it?
If it's part of a kit, it'll come with a can splitter and not two handhelds. It'll come with one handheld.
Right.
So
you can just
the handhelds are universal.
Yeah, you can just plug that handheld into the quick draw, run it standalone, and then when you go to system select, just hit quick draw, and there you go.
Too easy.
Yep.
Let's get over to this other one.
Okay.
So kill shot install TBI guide, episode 2.
Yeah.
There they are. I hid the comments for myself earlier. Couldn't figure it out. I can build you a rocket ship. I can't navigate YouTube, apparently. There you go. You can have that one.
Oh, Dwayne Pettis, 6545. We just did this very similar
Conversion.
conversion. This is conversation.
Don't correct Dwayne.
Okay.
He's got a Tri-5. Give him a break.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, he's got.
He's got the yellow one, right?
Yeah, it's actually pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 11 o'clock at night working on that thing with him.
That's awesome.
Found out the alternator was bad. That's why the car wouldn't shut off.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's tough. We just did a very similar conversion to our shop foreman's S10. He couldn't be happier with the upgrade. Sweet.
We like to hear it. Racing the Machine 3364. Always appreciate a good walkthrough. And we want to do walkthroughs on every single system.
Yeah.
We got that brand new 73 split bumper Camaro with a big block in it on a carb sitting on the dyno. Got to replace some wheel studs because we're going to strap it to the dyno, and there's some old wheel studs. We don't want to lose a wheel on that car on a dyno.
Yeah, I'm trying to go fast in place.
I want to go fast.
In place.
Fast in place,
In
yeah.
one spot.
Yeah. I'll get this one.
All right.
American Outlaw 1776. America. Any systems to run dual kill shots? We got a future thing of our new kill shot that was released at SEMA. Real sweet unit. And there'll be a version of that coming out probably in this year that will have a dual quad capability. So it'll be a new system, but it'll be dual quad capable. I'm looking forward to it. I've got to do a lot of research on that whenever we decide to move in that direction, because I want it to start, I want it to idle, I want it to part throttle, and I want it to wide open throttle. I've never been able to do those things with a dual quad without extreme tuning, and normally with the Rowdy motor you get a couple of those options, not all of the options. So you can idle the thing and back it off a trailer,
and then wide open. That's
and
it.
then only wide open.
Yeah.
You can't even like mid-range touch the throttle. So
A drivable dual quad.
I would. Okay, so I want to do it on my Tahoe. So I want to, I want to get my other OBS hood off of one of my other 9 OBSs, cut a big hole in it, and then put a stack right out the top. Big old dual quads catching rain and bugs. You can have this one. It's a question for me, but I want to have Bradley do it. He's got to learn.
Doc 4244 EFA. Hey Tim, running my kill shot about a year and a half, no major issues. Only question I have is now, how come my IAC never stays in spec? I'm always having to readjust it to keep between 6 and 20. Any advice greatly appreciated. Eddie. Always got replies.
Whenever it's something no, that's cool. Bryant Stillwell, one of our authorized tuners, threw some advice at it. Just go ahead and read Bryant Stillwell's response on that, dude.
Yeah, he responded to it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so...
Is your coolant temp staying consistent?
Mm-hmm.
Higher ECT equals less IAC / throttle blade opening needed. If you have an engine that varies 15 to 20 degrees between driving conditions, it's going to vary how much IAC it needs. If this is the case, set your IAC with the engine is the highest operating temp it sees. That's accurate. I've said that a couple times.
Yeah, that's
you want to do that
very true
at operating temperature.
Yeah, you want to get the thing to operating temperature and do the adjustment. If you got a cold start and it's really high, it's because you got extra fuel in a fuel modifier.
It's cold.
I've also seen situations where O2 sensors have been in weird spots and it learns some oddball stuff, and then whenever it comes back and it's supposed to be working between 6 or 20 or whatever, wherever you like it at, it usually ends up with like a weird high value or something silly going on there. Yeah. So I've seen that with a bit of bad learning data from a O2 sensor in a poor placement as well, or just a very minute exhaust leak, adding a bit of extra fuel, and then it's trying to like relearn it from lower velocity exhaust sensing. So that's a whole thing right there. But yeah, I think Bryant's I think he's on the best path to a good answer.
Sweet.
Big shout out to Bryant. Good job, buddy. And see, the community a lot of these times in the comments, they support each other a lot. Sometimes people get in there and troll around a little bit and just say things just to say things. But, the people that actually seem like they really want help, normally they get answers. Not just like, oh, they didn't send me a thing instantaneously and I'm waiting 20 minutes for it. But
Brandon Osborne -SP6HS. Honestly, I hate mine. 2-barrel, standard trans, dies every time I push the clutch when it warms up. Called customer service, can't figure it out. Said to call a preferred tuner, cost an extra $400. Wish I could return it.
Sorry to hear that, Brandon.
Yeah.
So, pro tip: if you got a standard trans on a 2-barrel, you can mess with the parked air versus ECT. You can throw a bit more air in there and then mess with the same value, the decay rates on that, so that it brings it from its parked position, giving it extra air, helping it, stay alive, and then it slowly transitions into it. Because right now, depending on how you're clutching, how you're stopping, what the motor is, just even your basic tuning on the 2-barrel, even
dropping all that load off.
Yeah, it's just dropping it off, and it just doesn't even have the room to catch it, because it could be like if it's too fuely, or you have the incorrect timing, it's not going to catch it very well. If your IAC is too fast to respond, it'll make the transition too quick and not catch the RPMs, and then it goes into below threshold RPMs, putting it into like cranking start, which adds extra fuel, which then the motor peters out the rest of the way.
Like up here, and the map just drops.
Yeah, and it just oof, because the lower the airflow, the less vacuum it has. So the less RPMs, the less vacuum it has, which means it's going to put it higher in the map and give it extra fuel, and then it's from there. So I think a little bit of IAC tuning, maybe some decay rates. You can probably actually ask for a bit of advice on that more detailed stuff. But with that kind of stuff, it's generally pretty quick and easy work if you do decide to go with an authorized tuner. But yeah, if you still feel a certain way about it, we'll do the best we can to help you out. But don't give up yet. You're just a few adjustments away from having it, because anytime I've dealt with a push-in clutch die situation or the wrong stall converter on a big cam motor, it's normally you have to add fuel or take fuel away, add air or take air away.
And they're pretty minor, really.
It's a small amount. It's that car I was tuning, that turbo Subaru last night. I went from like
LS
parked air. It was an LS motor. Parked air versus ECT. I went from 19 to like 42. Just to get it to start right, because it needed that much extra air because of the size of the massive camshaft and the massive turbo. Yeah.
Do you ever mess with follow timing on that stuff? Sometimes.
It depends on if I want more fire out the pipe.
I love fire.
See, I add pops and bangs.
Yeah.
He wants to take them away.
We got a spark plug on
the old school, man.
Yeah. Do that on the big block Camaro. Let's not do that on the dyno. That's probably not a good idea. You want to read this one?
Boosted Civic, your videos suck at telling us what's what. If you could elaborate on that a little bit more, that'll give me some good direction to help explain more in other future videos. Because in this video on this install, I was a lot of the stuff I was kind of responding in certain ways to a lot of questions that we previously got, and that's what I do in these videos. So,
Yeah.
we don't have the master inventory list of exactly how we should do everything. We just walk through the installs and do stuff. If he needs to elaborate on some more things, totally fine. I'm game for that.
Yeah, I will say that's something that you guys do very well, is like taking the suggestions and actually making it happen. You know, if somebody wants something done, y'all put that in the bucket there and it gets done.
A lot like in the tuning software and the handheld and just even in some of the pinout and the wiring and stuff, people run these suggestions in, and we got people to watch social media all day to look for everything from customer complaints and issues, stuff we need to escalate, stuff we don't need to escalate, and even quality related stuff. Like somebody will post a picture and it'll be like a big gnarly gouge or something in one of our throttle bodies. We're like, oof, we got to reach out to that guy and get him right. Can't be having that.
How many systems have been made just based on like suggestions alone?
Yeah, the PDM was one of them.
Yep.
The kill shot that's coming out, that's all customer driven.
The Jackpot TBI.
The Jackpot TBI was a customer driven one.
That was a fun one.
I like that. The Quick Draw was a customer driven one. I think we put out a thing to actually have the customers name the Quick Draw, I believe. I think that's, if I remember correctly, yeah. But there's so much of what we do here. We're a technology company, and if you know what you want and you want to take the time to explain it and let us know really what you desire, let us know.
Yeah.
Because I look through social media. I deal with the authorized tuners, and big piece of my week is collecting information to push up to make the future products. And if it's some setting that a lot of people are saying, hey, we want this in the software, let's do this.
The right ECU.
The right ECU. We got rid of the arrows and put read right ECU.
Read and write. That's on there now. That was a big deal. That was a major suggestion right there. And, people are familiar with other things, and I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember getting on there. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
This is new.
This writes to ECU. This reads. Yeah. And it sounds silly as can be. The arrows worked for me because I'm used to different stuff. Well, when it comes to the read and write, a lot of people, they don't know
HP.
Upload, download, this, that, and the other. They get confused because one brand will have it one way, another brand will have it another way. Actually, one brand has it one way, everybody else has it the other direction. Yeah. We decide to meet the middle ground.
That's true.
But it comes down to popularity of brands.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with somebody that does a lot of like PLC stuff, it made perfect sense. But there's a lot of engineers here, so it's one of those things. Like when we see somebody going on about our instructions like it's a poor translation from Chinese, I'm very sorry about my poor writing skills. I can tell you that right now. I'm very sorry about that. I am math. I don't word. So
it's that typing left hand thing I was talking about.
It's left hand anger. So no, but it's it's one of those things. Like we're trying to make the changes for the people, and really are. So that's why we spend so much time even doing this. This is for you. This ain't for us. This is for you. So we're going to sit here. We're going to read some stuff, and it's great.
Can you do a video on how to connect drive-by-wire TAC module?
So probably talking about an early LS1 with that dual plug throttle body. Ours don't work with that.
Yep.
We work with 6-pin and we work with 8-pin connections. If it has that TAC module, there's a lot of extra stuff that goes on in that we don't really support. So if you do decide to get like the jumper harness and plug it in, it'll do some wild stuff. You may be limited to 30 degrees of plate travel, or it may just decide to
go wide open,
be wide open all the time because it's the signals are flipped or something. So
I remember you saying this is not exactly related to that, but drive-by-wire related about a guy asking about cruise control stuff.
Yeah, I think Dakota Digital has a solution for that because they have an option, and they're going to pull certain signals from our system because there is a CAN network that we shared with them. There's a lot of paperwork involved in that, by the way. But I think they have one. I've never got to test one yet. We're doing some other stuff, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe I would like to try to get a cruise control module from them at some point and do a little install test and have a little bit of fun to see what's what.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
I mean, it's interesting to me. And it might give somebody an idea of an answer of, can I do this? I'm like, yes, I've personally done it. We don't
Right.
sell it, but they do.
That's honestly where our answers come from is,
Yeah.
messing with it, figuring stuff out, seeing what's what.
All right. So we burned through some questions on a couple of different videos here. Put in the comments if you want us to do more Live Tech Tuesdays. I want to do them once a month just because I think it was a good interaction. I mean, it really, when people know about it and they really got an answer, that would be real cool to answer right now instead of like waiting a whole week for us to do one of these things. I have a habit of going on YouTube and answering stuff anyways, so maybe you'll see me out there. But again, thank you, people, for watching our videos, for putting the questions out there, good and bad. It's all good. But, throw us ideas, things you want to see, ideas you have. If you're tuning your car and you have a question, throw that in there. If there's a thing you got going on that you don't quite understand, let us know, because that may give us inspiration for a new product or a new video to do just for you, the people.
Yep.
But, got anything else to say, Bradley?
You covered it right there.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, well, too easy, right? Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Again, check out our website. We got some cool deals going on this year. We got some great products coming out this year, and I hope to be banging out some videos and some better tech information and pushing harder for the education side of all this. That's my big focus for this year. Videos, written documentation, education, tuning guides, more broad network of authorized tuners, and getting Bradley trained up.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Dyno train.
Thanks for hanging in there. Bye now.
Bye.